Pick up the mop, put it in the bucket. That's all you have to do. Keep mopping. Remember, you're not just a janitor. Matter of fact, you're not a janitor at all. You are a custodial artist. That's right. You've hacked the system. These people looking at you, they don't know your vision. They have no clue. They haven't hacked. They haven't tapped into it yet. Oh, wait, don't miss that spot. All right, clean that up. You're on the cutting edge of human evolution. That's what you're doing. Pine Sol, all these products that you use to throw into the water, these are just merely the ingredients. These are the colors that you use on the canvas. You're listening to the Double D's podcast.
I'm Dom.
I'm d.respect.
He's getting a great set of tits.
I get so angry thinking about this kid.
Because that's what most people are bitching about.
In New York, you know, we like to eat out here. You
gotta stop looking at interacting with people online as a cheap date. My father used to drink.
get the fuck away from me. Hold on.
I come a lot, by the way.
You're doing the rap stuff.
If you didn't say it, somebody in the comment section would have said it.
It's like how you feel when you're having a paranoid high.
That's a dynamic connection right there. You're listening to Double D's.
I'm dumb.
I'm d.respect. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Double D's podcast. Once again, we would like to force you.
You said canvas.
I went there. We would like to force you to give this video 150 likes. It would make me the happiest podcaster in all of the land if you were to just do that and buy the Double D Skidcast. It's in the description below. Some of you are actually being receptive to that. I'm proud of you guys. Some of you guys are buying the Skidcast. So we appreciate that. We appreciate your support. How the fuck are you guys doing?
I got a problem.
What's that?
My friend Kodak Black is in jail. He's gonna go to jail.
So you've been cool with Kodak Black this whole time? Have you've never even mentioned this? Like, you know, can he be a guest on the show? Or?
Yeah, you know, Kodak Black. He's actually he's my son.
Oh,
yeah.
He's your son. Okay.
Yeah, Kodak Black's my son.
I don't believe you.
Anyway, I'm worried. I'm worried he's gonna go to jail, man. It's scary. Plus, he's Haitian. You know.
And you told me you were gonna be on a diet. You've broken that.
I am on a diet. You know, I'm down to like 4 biscuits a day. You know.
Okay.
Only 2 buckets of fried chicken a day. You know, I'm down. I used to do 3. You know.
Okay, well that's
an
improvement. Right?
Can you give me some credit?
I can, maybe. I'll give you some, but you could do a lot better than that, Eddie.
I don't think Eddie has it in him, dude. I think he's always going to be fat.
Well, I guess he's gonna have to be fat then. He's just gonna have to stay that way.
If Eddie got skinny, we wouldn't accept him into our life. No one would accept Eddie as skinny.
You're right. It's kind of like Jonah Hill, right? Like Jonah Hill never looked.
Oh, he got skinny for like a couple months there.
But it always looked weird. I think Moneyball Jonah Hill is Jonah Hill. Like, I mean, I know it's a fucked up thing to say because that's
what do
his
you
health.
mean? What do you mean it's him? His physical body?
I don't know. It just looks more like Jonah Hill. When I saw him on those 21 Jump Street movies with Channing Tatum, it just didn't look right. He looked too fat skinny for me.
You know what's...
He looked too fat skinny. Like he's got to put on a little bit more muscle in order for him to look healthy.
What's weird about Jonah Hill? Yeah, I don't know why fat Jonah Hill looks healthy to me. And like, you look good. Like you're just Jonah Hill. You're supposed to be chubby.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's another guy who lost a lot of weight recently. Just saw this. Your boy Penn Jillette lost a lot of fucking weight.
Yeah, he did.
He looks sick.
Yeah. Dude, I saw Penn Jillette talk about his eating habits.
Oh.
And he said in order to sort of switch whatever relation the food that he eats has to do with his brain, he ate potatoes for, I don't know how long it was. I think it was 2 weeks straight. He said he ate nothing but potatoes. After he was done with that phase, he never looked at he said he loved fried chicken. He never looked at fried chicken again. He's not even tempted to eat it anymore.
What?
He said he'll indulge, but potatoes sort of reset everything in his brain.
You know, that is genius. I mean, these guys, this is why they are where they are. This is why he's a master trickster and able to do this. He's the longest running show in Vegas, him and Teller.
Would you say
But, like,
he hacked his eating habits?
I would say he altered. I would say he altered his mental faculties. You know.
Okay.
I would say he retrained himself.
Gotcha.
But this is why he is the way. Just it's a brilliant idea, and I will bet you money he didn't even read it. He just looked at his own mind as a magic trick. He was like, okay, well, how do I fool myself? That's my job now. I couldn't do it. I couldn't eat a bunch of potatoes, but I mean, why did it take him so long?
So long to get to good health?
Yeah, you would think that he would have done this before.
Well, I mean, hey, that's a long process. I mean, for somebody to develop good eating habits, that's tough. You know, that's tough. I mean, think about the basic things that we do on an everyday basis that we think it's nothing, but it's only because we've been doing it since we were kids. Like when you get up and brush
Like
your
jerking?
teeth. Like jerking. I wasn't doing that when I was a kid. Like brushing your teeth. When you brush your teeth, I mean, that's, you know, I would hope that everyone does that every day. You know, some do it twice a day. But that's a habit that you developed. But eating's a tough one because shit, we were all. I was raised on McDonald's, man. I don't know about you.
I didn't know that. How often do you eat McDonald's?
Oh, let me tell you something, man.
Oh man.
Let me tell you something. My mother hacked the system. Okay.
Okay.
My mother hacked the
You
system.
fucking ass.
You know, she would tell social services that we lived alone. We didn't have a father, so you know, they were never to know that my father lived. See, that's why that song Fear is so familiar to me. But, you know, my mother wouldn't threaten me and say, "Don't you tell them that your daddy doesn't live here." But it's all a part of it. It's all a part of that upbringing where she was like, "Yeah, your father doesn't live here technically, you know, to the state." So we used to get public assistance. So when we got public assistance at the time, McDonald's used to accept coupons. Coupons used to they don't come in cards anymore. I mean, they come in cards now, but before,
do you mean food stamps or coupons?
Food stamps.
Okay, there you go.
Food stamps would come in booklets.
Yeah,
you know, they would come in booklets of 1s, booklets of 5s, booklets of 10s or whatever. And McDonald's would accept those booklets. Now, I don't know if that particular McDonald's was a franchise location. And it could be why that's why they're able to do it, because obviously a franchise it's owned by a couple of people or just one person and they get to dictate, you know, what currency they take in. Corporate, I'd be very surprised that a corporate McDonald's would be able to take food stamps. You know, I'm sure there's like tax issues there or whatever the fuck. So what I would do with those food stamps was I would go to McDonald's and I would buy 220 pieces. Like shit just got that real. So I was raised
40. That's 40 nuggets.
That's 40 nuggets, and I used to fucking swallow those motherfuckers.
Wait,
like they
you
were
by
nothing.
yourself?
Me by myself,
God
dude.
Damn,
dude,
boy.
it's nothing, man. I'm an eater, man. I can fuck that up. I don't think that's much. How many chicken
With
McNuggets do you
sauce
think you could eat?
Oh, right now, dude, I'm a grown ass man, motherfucker.
So how many think you could eat to the point of like your bodily failure?
Like oh, dude, that's I could probably I could
80.
No, I was gonna say 60, dude.
Think so? Okay, you think it's 60?
And we're talking one sitting, like gulp,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
underwater Eddie type eating, right? Yeah, I could do 60. Would you do it dry or with sauce?
Oh, with sauce.
Okay, then you're talking something else. I mean, it is lubricated, which helps.
Yeah.
But also, I think it also fills your stomach. I mean, like you got to think about it. Like you're technically just downing sauces like shots. So if you do like 3 or 4 sauces, then oh man, hold the fuck on though. Chick-fil-A nuggets.
I still haven't eaten at Chick-fil-A. There's one in the city here, but I haven't eaten there.
Try it, dude. Their nuggets are real chick. It's delicious, and their sauces are fucking phenomenal. But yeah, go back to the food stamps, the nuggets.
Yeah. So no, all I'm saying is that it's hard to jump out of the cycle of eating terrible food because, you know, to be honest with you, you know, the foods that you eat, you tend to link them to your behaviors too. That happens too a lot.
Okay.
You know, you'd be surprised to see when you get upset, what's the first thing that you reach for? Pay attention to that.
My dick.
Everything's about your dick. Everything's about jerking, isn't it?
Look, man, it was an easy joke. It was an easy joke. It's just there.
you just had to indulge.
I
didn't you?
can't not do it, dude. I had to make a jerk joke every day at least, or I'm gonna die. That's my power.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay. So what is this conversation triggering right now that makes you bring up a dick joke? Is it disinterest?
I was probably touched as a child. That's why I'm like and that's why I make things sexual, but I try making a joke. In reality, I'm just trying to like fend off like demonic thoughts of when I was abused. Anyway, yeah. Okay. When I'm really excited, like if I got a call from Adult Swim right now and they wanted to fly me out to LA so that I could work on a show for them, I would probably walk outside and walk to 7-Eleven and get a bunch of cookies. So yeah, if I was really sad, you know, if a girl that I really liked died or something, I'd probably go to 7-Eleven and get something to eat. So yeah, it's food.
See, but you know, that's interesting how food, the relation that people have to food, because then obviously you can have somebody who feels like they're not getting validation or love and they eat because of that. Whereas you're saying when you get that validation,
yes,
that's when I eat.
Yes, there you
so
go.
Is it,
there you go, sweetie.
So
there
is it a reward? Is it a reward?
It is.
Is that okay?
It is, because you know, I grew up on food stamps too, and
did you get the books? You got them books?
Oh yeah, we did. And I remember you had the funny money, and you would hand it over to the Chinese lady, and she'd be like, ugh. They'd give you a look.
Always,
I never knew.
Always. Yeah.
And I never understood the look. I thought it was just money, but I knew that you give them that particular money that you think it's money, and they're like, oh, here we go. But yeah, we would get Chinese every Friday, and I think to this day, it's like, excuse me, talk about like connections being made between your brain and your body and all that stuff. To this day, man, eating like a 3-piece fried chicken meal from a carryout with some fried rice is like, that's like comfort food to me.
Yeah.
It's really like that shit. But you got to think about it. Like if you're a growing boy and you're eating nuggets, like do you still get the feelings when you eat nuggets now? Are you still like, oh shit, like it's like nostalgic for you, the taste?
Eating nuggets, maybe not, but definitely sweets, yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah,
sweet.
with sweets, that's when that's when the drugs are really kicking in.
Like did your mom ever make the tres leches cakes?
No, but my mother, but she didn't make those. Well, if these guys remember, obviously you're aware. My mother was a baker, so she used to bake all kinds of cakes. I wasn't into tres leche. I wasn't into that shit. I like buttercream, dog. That's what I like. She used to make those buttercream cakes.
Oh my fucking
buttercream,
Lord.
dog. Yeah, you know.
But so how does one break out of it? Because I think everyone has a different path. I think for me, calorie counting has always helped. Whenever I do it, it just helps.
That
keep
shit
me in check.
drives me insane. I've never done that.
You got mad at me once when I was talking about my diet restrictions, where I was like, I'm trying to stay away from sugars, and you're like, that's what you do, Rab, bro. You fucking try to stay away from one thing.
Because that shit turns into a fucking addiction. That shit turns into a fucking addiction, man. Fucking
what are you addicted
counting
to?
calories.
How can you be addicted to restricting yourself?
Excuse me?
Tell me. How can you be addicted to restricting yourself? How?
Because, you know, we were kind of having this conversation the other day when we were talking about that John Father Misty song.
Okay.
You said you know, I listened to like 1 or 2 songs. I couldn't listen to the whole album. I was too fucking high. I didn't want to listen to it. And, you know, and he said something like people are free, but being free is a prison that they can't leave. So so I think that line sort of begs the question of, can you do something good to a fault? Can you create a world even around a good behavior, and that restriction and that rigidness keeps you within that confined space, just like somebody who has a drug habit? Obviously there are things that can empower you, that, you know, because that empowers you. If you restrict yourself to not eat terrible foods,
yeah,
it's empowering you, but you still got to realize that that's sort of a prison in and of itself.
Yeah, but you know, the thing about that is like, that's a really like 16-year-old thing where it's like, man, I'm in this system of oppression. No, it's not. You're in fucking school. Learn how to read books.
It's not the sort of. It's not like an oppressive thing. It's a different sort of a prison. It's something with your own boundaries. Obviously, this is something that you're creating, so no one is putting this upon you. So it's a different prison. It's just your sort of boundaries. Like if you're telling yourself, I have to eat, I can only consume 1,500 calories a day, and all of a sudden somebody asks you to go out, you know, go eat some wings and go eat a bunch of stuff, and now all of a sudden you're having this battle within yourself where it's like, do I have a good time with my friends, or do I continue to restrict myself because this is what I want and this makes me feel good? It makes me feel so. You can sort of, you know, you sort of have that battle, and it's only a battle that you're having because you created these rules for yourself, which is great because that particular rule empowered you. That particular rule empowered you to improve your health, but it's still a limitation that you're putting on yourself. And I think when you eat a Snicker bar, that's fine. But when you eat a Snicker bar and you call yourself a piece of shit while you're eating it, that's when you fucked up.
Yeah, well, welcome to my life. Dude, listen, man, I have trouble with this. I will admit this right now. Not just with Snickers. And, dude, you know me. I have trouble with that when it's anything that is for my health or enjoyment. Like, I'll beat myself up when I go watch movies and hang out when I'm not working. I'll just be like self-flagellating, which is I'm trying to work myself out of it. But it's like that's what puts you in the spirals, like these shame spirals where you're like why aren't you drawing right now? You're just sitting there playing Mass Effect. Like, what are you doing? What makes you think that you deserve to play this game right now? That type of shit will lead you to a place where you're like, yeah, you're right, I should work. And you go back and you're working, but you're unhappy doing it, and you're like, that's not a good place to be in. With the food, I think this is a sick person talking. Like, the mind state I'm in when I'm indulging in that Snickers bar is basically like I feel really blank. It's like I'm nowhere because I'm just trying to. This should be a Snickers commercial, by the way. It's like when you eat a Snickers bar, you just push every thought out of your brain because you're just concerned with trying to force this chocolate and peanut butter.
Oh, they would love
down.
to say that. I guess that's what they're saying subconsciously.
Yeah, just force all those bad thoughts away. Just go. I mean, I remember Mounds had a commercial about that.
Who?
About it being Mounds. Remember, it's like the brother to Almond Joy.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, it was like it's a 5-minute vacation.
Mounds.
When you think about it, that's kind of negative, right? It's like you're taking okay, all this bad shit is happening around you. Then I eat Mounds and I leave. Like, should food be making you leave your body?
The Mounds commercial was doing what exactly in the commercial? Like what?
It's like you eat it. It was a cartoon. You eat the Mounds, and then all of a sudden you're in your shitty office or apartment building. You eat the Mounds, and then you're literally on an island oasis.
Okay, right.
So the food makes you forget where you are.
Yeah.
So I don't know that works if you're talking about just like some healthy chicken breast and kale. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't do it for you.
No.
The only way you're gonna transcend is by eating shit that's bad for you. So you can't market some hard boiled eggs with no salt or pepper on it as a vacation.
Right. There's nothing in there to trigger
Right.
you your senses or anything. There's no sugar in there. And obviously Mounds can say that because they have drugs in their products. They have a drug in their products, so they can confidently say that. I almost feel like with weed too, that's one of the things that keeps weed illegal. I think it's, maybe it's something that I'm just making up, but it's also something that it would hurt the advertising industry because weed is something that could give you that. You could smoke weed and then you won't be physically in another place, but you can instantly be somewhere else and still function. You can still function. You could be in the middle of a barbecue. It's a shitty barbecue. And then all of a sudden your boy hands you a vape pen. And you're kind of just like, I'm good, dog. And then, mentally those ocean, the ocean view opens up behind you and all that shit. And you feel good. Weed can definitely do that. And I feel that would be interesting to see how weed would be sold if we got to the point. I mean, and obviously this would be years from now because everybody always thinks legalization is it's right around the corner, but who knows how many people have their hands in this shit. But once weed becomes like wine, I guess. Once weed becomes like wine, which it kind of is. It's just not, there's still just like social constructs built on it, and stereotypes that just obviously aren't true. For some people they're true, but I'd like to see how it'd be advertised.
Well, I read an advertising book recently, and you would actually I feel you're about to shit on me about this, but like
I want to.
You would really like this book, and it's targeted towards people who want to learn how to write better ads, like copywriters. So you basically get to see behind advertisements. It's like there are all these sort of principles to selling things to somebody. Like for instance, if I want to sell you a pen, it's like, well, let's talk about what this pen is. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what it isn't. Let's talk about what it does for you, what it doesn't do for you, what it could do. What does it represent? Like, what do you do when you're writing? It's like you just get so deep into what an object does. And I think weed is going to be it's going to be explosive in terms of advertising and what it does for marketing as well, because it's a ripple effect. I don't think you're selling just the product. I think you're selling what it does to other products. Like, you smoke.
It'll enhance food. It'll enhance music.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you smoke, and then you're not just listening to your music. It's like, for instance, here's a really corny, easy example. You listen to Bruno Mars or some shit. That's what they would. That sounds terrible. Oh my god.
I apologize. I just get kind of excited when people bring up Bruno Mars.
Julio, please never do that again.
There's Pitbull. All the way up here is Pitbull, and then just a little bit under is Bruno. Gotta go. Dom's gonna
wait, Julio, who's your favorite rapper, dude?
Flow Rider.
Julio keeps. There are two people. There are two people that come to the podcast studio that are revealing a lot about themselves, and I'd like to talk to them more. I'd like to talk to Spike more, and I'd like to talk about Julio. Spike is revealing his political loyalties, and Julio's revealing his music interest.
Spike is deeply racist, and Julio is like, I like Flow Rider's second album, bro. It's pretty good, God. What I was gonna say was like the ads you'll get for weed are gonna be interesting because branding is brilliant. Whether or not you hate it, love it or hate it, look, you're gonna get Backwoods, right? Backwoods are gonna get their hands on their strain of weed, whatever it's gonna be, and they're gonna start selling their own weed. So Backwoods weed, let's say that's the urban weed, right? They sell it to hip hoppers, so it's like Wiz Khalifa, right? He's gonna be like, when I'm in the studio, man, I need to know that my shit is right. My shit needs to be rolled up properly. My shit needs to hit quick before I get in the studio. You feel me? Right? And he goes, let's go. Hey, man, Wiz Khalifa, Big Beefer. I smoked that Chief Keefer.
This is the shot of him on stage now?
Yes. So that's their weed, right? But that's not going to work for some boat shoes white boy, man. Some like little douche that hangs around on a yacht. That weed for him is like, when I'm hanging out with my chicks, like I just want to cool down. Like I just got to make sure this is going to be the right moment to set things right. And I smoke douches. He's like, and then like, keep the party going on this yacht. We're all boring. So it'll be interesting to see. I think what'll happen, I think at least in the first wave, is that it's just going to be like beer commercials. And beer's doing that. It's like some of them are boring. Some of them are.
You remember when beer commercials would have? Well, mostly this was just Budweiser. Budweiser just when they would they take like 5 or 6 horses just stampeding in the wilderness, and I'm watching this like, what the fuck does this have to do with beer? What did Budweiser want to communicate to you at that point? Like, what are these stampeding? Like, are you a free horse if you drink?
Horse. That's a sign of a terrible ad because they're not.
But is it? Because it's Budweiser.
Well, I guess maybe that's the equivalent of like the Matthew McConaughey thing in the Lincoln car now, because he's in those commercials are existential sort of musings on existence. That's what it is. He's in the Lincoln car, not even. He's like, it's a place. It might not be a place. You're going, but sometimes you're stopped, and and he's just in the car laughing to himself. So it's like everything is absurd anyway. But not in an Eric Andre way where they're laughing about it. I think that Budweiser thing with the horses, maybe it was doing that. Maybe it was like we're just gonna show you something beautiful, and maybe have you thinking about a nice film, and hey, drink this. I guess. I don't know. Maybe what they're trying to communicate is that nothing matters, and you should just have fun. Similar to like certain rappers, like Lil Boat himself. He would say that.
You brought up little rich douches. What did you think about Fyre Fest? All that stuff with Ja Rule.
Ooh, boy, loved it. Loved it. I drink Fyre Festival. I wake up in the morning and put it in my mouth and just swirl it around. Love it. Mm-hmm. So the premise is this: Ja Rule and some tech startup guy with a lot of money decide to start a music festival that spans 2 weekends in a remote island in the Bahamas, right? It's expensive. It's really expensive. The idea was that they would fly you out from Miami, and they had all these beautiful models and shit, and doing promo videos, including Bella Hadid and all these people, like hanging on yachts, being sexy, whatever. Ja Rule's involved. He's like, yeah, we're gonna have the hottest acts. It was supposed to be Blink-182 as a headliner, Ray Shremmerd, Skepta, I think, and a bunch of other people were supposed to go there. And it was supposed to be a huge thing where they would have like 5-star chefs cooking. You're supposed to be a bunch of villas, all kinds of shit. Turns out it was I don't know what happened, but I think their money wasn't right, and they were just stealing money from people. By the way, cheapest tickets were $2,000. Okay,
I thought the minimum was 12,000. That's the figure, or is
Well,
that the VIP?
I think that's for VIP, but it was really expensive is the point. Like even 2,000, that's a lot. Most people can't afford.
How much does
something
it cost to attend Coachella?
I think it's probably like 300 or something.
Wow, over several courses of days, really?
Maybe it's more than that. I don't know.
That's pretty good if it's you're there for like 3 days.
Oh, maybe it's more. I thought it was 300, but the shit was so expensive. What happened was they started losing, like, a bunch of crazy shit happened. The villas didn't really exist. A bunch of the acts left. I don't think any of the acts showed up.
Blink-182 was supposed to be like the main, which I think is hilarious, by the way. It's a Blink-182
in your car. I just can't wait.
Ugh, kill yourself.
What was their big hit? Was it
My
American
Age Again?
Idiot or
No, that's Green Day.
It's Green.
What's My Age Again is a big one.
How does that one go?
Nobody likes you when you're 23 and you're still acting like it's freshman year. What the hell is wrong with me? Ugh.
Okay.
Oh, that's the big one. The song I Miss You I actually really like. But anyway, they pull out because Fyre Festival did not give them their money. So they pulled out. There was no 5-star chefs. They were giving people pieces of bread with slices of cheese on them.
Which I have to say, the first time I saw the picture of that, I hadn't eaten in like 2 hours and I was starving. And I looked at that picture and I said, so what's the problem?
You fucking Dominican. You're like, hey, that look good, man.
What's the problem, man? What's the problem?
That looks like my lunch.
I was like, dude, it's good eats. Good eats, but it better get
that's a Haitian
some
feast.
Of that pepper jack.
So we got a Haitian feast, boy. Yeah, so there was that. People were getting stranded. They didn't know to have their luggage. They were out in tents where people were just fighting over stuff. It was just a complete farce. And they shut down the festival like one day in. Yeah, and I'm just so happy. And I'm not one of these guys where it's like I just want to see rich kids get fucked over, as funny as that is.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do, though.
I just like chaos sometimes, and this is friendly chaos to me. No one got killed.
Who are you, the Joker?
Sometimes I like to see. I
like to be Candy Bar Kid.
I like to see things go wrong. I can't fucking talk now because you fucking said Candy Bar Kid. Sometimes I like when things go wrong, you understand? Like Fyre Festival. It's my favorite type of fest.
Oh, you like when things are going wrong? How about if you go to 7-Eleven and your favorite candy bar isn't there? How do you feel? Because that's a tragedy for you.
It's not great. I don't like it.
God doesn't exist, everybody.
He has to throw
That's it. So the candy bar is not there. That's it. Life is
If
not.
the candy bar was there, it would be proof that God exists. However, it's not, which means God is not present. We have killed God, essentially. Goodbye.
He's gonna make
Yeah.
a TED Talk. Candy bars and God made him question his faith.
It's just a slideshow of every candy bar and why it proves that God doesn't exist.
Reese's, I mean, come on. It's simple.
But did you get any pleasure out of knowing that the festival failed?
I just thought it was funny that it was Ja Rule. I just think it's funny. Whatever Ja Rule does to me is pretty fucking hilarious. Because I think back at that Dave Chappelle joke with Ja Rule and worshiping celebrities and all. Ja Rule's turned into, I wouldn't say he's a joke or anything like that. I mean, most would agree that Ja Rule's career sort of took a nosedive after 50. After 50 just completely put his foot in his ass.
He really did. He really
did,
him.
man. I think that was one of the only times that you can really say that a beef ruined somebody's image. It ruined public perception of this person. It did a lot to hurt Ja Rule's brand. And 50 did that with a couple people. He tried to do it with Fat Joe. Turns out it doesn't work because Fat Joe is more musically relevant than 50 Cent is today. So Fat Joe ends up winning that one. And I think Joe knows that. And 50 probably knows that on some level. Unless, of course, 50 wanted to move the goalpost and say, I am a bigger mogul. I have an empire. I do movies. I do TV shows. But, hey, you were
Plus, I
music.
got that vitamin water, boy. You got that vitamin water. What you know about that shit, man?
Yeah,
What you know about that shit? I'm from Queens,
it's terrible. I'm not even going to acknowledge that.
I'm from
No,
Queens,
not
dog.
even going to make that a thing. That's not a thing. That's candy car.
No, man, it's tight, dude.
That's not,
My fit
Every
is tight.
impersonation doesn't have to be acknowledged. He didn't ruin him musically, but anyway, I think it's hilarious because it's Ja Rule, and just imagining Ja Rule. Okay, how about this? How about we're in the conference room, and I am the $1 million silent partner or investor, and you as Ja Rule, you're trying to sell this Fyre Fest idea to me.
Hey, baby. Hey, listen up, man. I got this idea.
What's that, Ja?
I got an idea.
What's your idea? I've got a 4 o'clock coming up soon. What was that?
We gonna go to an island.
I'm listening.
And then we gonna play some music. Cause when you got a thug love, you be in the music. I got my girl Ashanti, Murder Inc., baby.
Would they have compensated the crowd if Bobby Brown came out of nowhere with his "And I know you're getting bored"?
I know you're getting butt.
Oh, that was so classic. That thug.
I love Thug Lovin'. I love it. I hated it when I was a kid, and this is back before I even had like taste in you. I would just watch everything, and I was like, this song is not good. 12-year-old me just seeing him humping the air when he hops out of a helicopter. And I was like,
dude, man, it's just praising Bobby Brown, man. The greatness of Bobby Brown, dude. That's all.
So I mean, he was like, realistically, it was this. So my partner and I, we have an idea. We're just gonna have a festival out in the island, and we're gonna take a lot of money, and yeah.
That's what we gonna do. Take advantage of you. And
that's what he says before he rapes you.
That's what Ja does. Confirmed.
Where's Ja? No,
Hey, can I ask you a question? I'm sorry. You're an internet guy. What the fuck is Hotep?
You don't know what a Hotep is? That's not about the internet.
But what is that? I don't know what a Hotep
The
is.
Hotep is basically like, imagine a black Israelite, except they're way less harsh, and they don't believe in the Israelite thing. It's basically, imagine, these black dudes who wear suits. Like, they're almost like black Muslims, but not quite. And they always have beards, and they're like, let me tell you something, my brother. Us black men and the black queens. That's basically
Because I've been seeing a lot of that online now. I've been seeing Hotep. Okay. I guess it's
also. I guess it's
black militants.
Yeah, I think it's kind of. a little bit derogatory or kind of a joke. It's like, oh, it's one of these guys talking about kings and queens and shit.
You know what's funny? I don't know what Hotep is, but
they were dashikis.
I definitely listened to a few lectures of somebody who's could definitely be considered Hotep. Definitely.
Yeah.
He's been on Vlad TV a few times. Maybe some of you might have heard him. His name is Brother Polite. I've listened to him a couple of times. Just whatever. That's another subject. But
they wear FUBU beanies, and they just they take the FUBU out and put an ankh in there instead.
You fuck. I heard that they're going to do it next year, and those who paid for it, they get a free ticket for next year. But they're being sued.
For Fyre Festival?
Yeah, for the festival. They want to do it again next year, and those people don't have to pay. But the problem here is that you're fucking with a lot of privileged kids who have rich mommies and daddies who are lawyering up, and that's your ass, Ja Rule.
No.
I got a nigga behind bars. Would you still love me?
No.
We're gonna find out.
Oh, he's gonna get loved. Yeah. It's not his fault. That's my hot take on this.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
it is not. He is a promoter.
But you know what? But here's the thing, and this is what you got to understand this too. It doesn't matter. You are the biggest name that's attached to it. So if it's a success, you get the credit, and if it's a failure, you got to take it.
No, it's not his fault.
I know, I get that it's not his fault, but I'm not going to look under the fucking hood for what happened for Fyre Fest. No one is. You mean to tell me that people are going to look into the situation and find out, well, this in the documents, the lawyers, what they stated, it wasn't, they couldn't reach an agreement. It was out of Ja Rule's. It doesn't matter.
That's what it's going to have to be in a legal sense. It's going to have the
but that's
the
boring.
battle be fought
in a legal
on that.
sense. That's boring. But the fact is that it's attached to Ja Rule's name.
Oh,
Title is attached to Jay-Z's name. If it's a failure, maybe it's not Jay's fault, but he knows that ultimately his brand is attached to it. So it doesn't matter. That's all I'm going to see it as. I'm going to go Jay-Z. That's what I see.
So you're talking about the court of public opinion. You're not talking about legally. So you're saying even if they settle and Ja Rule doesn't lose a penny, it's still, man, motherfucker.
It's not
promote a festival. I'm not even coming to that.
It's
shit
not
like
fault.
That.
It's just you're just gonna. It's not about placing fault. It's just what is Fyre Fest going to be associated with? It's going to be associated with Ja Rule. I don't even know that other millionaire's name. No one does. No one does. Of course, there's more to the situation. I'm sure. Tidal. Jay-Z bought Tidal off a Swedish a streaming company. They didn't invent the idea of Tidal and the lossless sound quality. That's something that they just bought from another company. So this is, the inner workings of business. I get that. But it's just Ja Rule is the biggest name on the marquee. He's the biggest name. And so, the court of public opinion is they're going to throw Ja Rule under the bus. And that's just the way it is,
Right.
Just the way it is. If Fyre Fest was a fucking home run and they made their money back 3 times over, then Ja Rule's going to get praised just like Akon got praised. What was it for providing?
Lady Gaga?
No, yeah. I'm sure he's getting a lot more than praise, right? Electricity?
Yeah, to a bunch of African nations.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure there's so many people that are connected to that. It's not just fucking Akon. Of course not. But
no,
people
he actually literally, he went down.
It was just him. It was just him. You can take electricity. No. Is that kind of somebody's going to shit on me? Okay, moving along here. So, what I think we should do here is, because we decided to do something a little different with you guys on Snapchat. Instead of telling you guys to send in questions, what we did is we asked you to send in your opinions of Lil Yachty, Little Boat. And you guys, some of you didn't fucking listen. Some of you sent in questions. I fucking hate you for it. But we were discussing before the show, we were discussing the conversation that Lil Yachty had with Joe Budden on the Everyday Struggle with DJ Academics and Joe Budden. And I watched the clip, but the clip didn't make me feel anything because so much of what happens on that show is all about Joe Budden's anger. It has
so
a lot to
funny,
do with his
man.
anger. I was very surprised that when I watched the show, DJ Academics is extremely professional.
You're right. You're right.
Somebody on Snapchat told me like, "Hey D, like you should be on that." Look, I look at that situation as that motherfucker's opening up a door for commentators, and he's letting commentators know that there's room for you. You know, for this new media, because that's what he is. He's new media, and that's a great fucking thing to see new media on. Obviously, this is Complex's YouTube channel, but Complex has been a media giant for years. You know, it didn't just start with the internet. But anyway, I was surprised to see. I was surprised to see how angry Joe Budden was. If anybody wants to know about, I believe every artist puts out a song that explains their ethos. It's just like any philosopher. Just like any philosopher, every rapper has a song that he puts out there that it's like, this is what I'm about. I don't know if that's their intention, but when you look back and you connect the dots, that song says a lot about that artist than any other song could. Why are you laughing?
Can I guess? Can I guess what the song is?
With Pitbulls? Okay.
No.
You're gonna fucking ask me a dumb question about Pitbulls.
No, for Joe Budden, I think I know the song.
What's the song?
It's a Pump It Up.
His ability to pump things up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Kick it up a notch. No, I think the ethos of Joe Budden is "Walk With Me" off his first album. I think that song is I think it was Joe's first album. His first album on Def Jam. And that song is basically about paranoia. It's about questioning people's intentions. That's really what it's about. So Joe's always in this constant state of observing those around him and in relation to, you know, except now he's looking at it from a journalistic standpoint and not from I'm an artist at a record label. What is the record label going to do to rate me? What are they going to do? What is my girlfriend going to do? Now he's looking at it from a journalistic standpoint, and now he's trying to break down what this means for hip hop. And if he's talking to Yachty and they're having a conversation about the album cover to what is it? Teenage Emotions?
Yeah, something like that.
Teenage Feelings, Teenage Emotions, whatever the fuck. And Yachty's got two guys in the corner kissing. Then Joe's saying, well, I think this is disingenuous. You're just trying to cash in on the gay dollar. And I appreciate the fact that Yachty is standing there and he's taking it in the chin, man. Yachty's just there and he's just like, dude,
he really is.
What are your questions?
He never raised his voice or anything.
You know, Joe did. Yachty's not getting defensive. I get a sense from Yachty that Yachty has a lot of older people around him.
Yeah.
Yachty has like family. You can tell when somebody's grounded with good people around him. It doesn't matter what he puts out, whatever color hair he is. You can tell when somebody's grounded. And he's just sitting there like, dude, yeah. I know you might think it's stupid. The other thing that I want to say is that's one of the reasons why I find Vince Staple to be sort of just not interesting. And you disagree with me. That's why I find Vince Staples to be the complete opposite of what Lil Yachty is, because Vince Staple would instead sit in front of Joe Budden and use a passive-aggressive tone and get very dismissive and act like he's above the situation. Yachty understands that whatever the idea that Joe has about rap, Yachty has his own idea. So Yachty would be just as foolish to start questioning everything to Joe and being just pissed off. So I think he understands Joe's plight. Vince Staple would just be there and he just be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, dog. You don't get it. It doesn't. Like, I just want to punch him in his fucking face because he's so.
Why do you get so mad?
Because because I'm passionate about hip hop just like Joe is.
How do you know? Like,
because I'm passionate about
your
it.
issues with his delivery. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Because, dude, come on.
You don't like him because he sounds like Cowboy. That's your problem with him. I'm telling you, dude. You're mad because he doesn't raise his voice. That's why you're mad at him. No. It is, dude.
It goes far beyond that.
How do you know he's not passionate about what he does? Why would he not?
I understand that he's passionate about what he does, but the thing is through the comments that he's made, it leads you to believe that he doesn't understand. Because when he said the thing about 90s hip-hop being overrated, and then he just said the most moronic thing. And look, you could defend him. You could be an apologist all you want. That's fine. This is just the new year. You know, you have your new wave things that you just roll with in a conformist sort of way. And that's fine. You know, and that's me being condescending towards you, but fuck you. But when he said, oh, what were the 90s about? Biggie, Tupac, that's it? Really? That's all there was. It was just two dead guys. That's all it was. Outkast. No, Outkast doesn't mean anything. No. Wu-Tang doesn't mean anything. Mobb Deep doesn't mean anything. 8-Ball and MJG doesn't mean anything. Fucking Ice Cube doesn't mean any. Like, none of that means anything, right? It's to Biggie and Tupac. That's all it was. There's so many things that happened, and when you just make such a moronic statement, you know, and I don't think it's taken out of context. That's what the fuck he said. Now, he didn't say the 90s are. He didn't literally say they're overrated, but that's what he basically implied. That's basically he didn't make that actual statement. So a conversation with Vince Staple would probably be like, I didn't technically say it, so you cannot hold me to it, sir. So I will speak to you in this tone as if you don't understand what I'm implying to you. And it's just condescending. He's just a sack of shit. He's a sack when talking about that topic. Obviously he makes good music, but when discussing that, I have no interest in it. And that's what makes me like Yachty in that sense. That makes me like Yachty because Yachty's defending himself. It's not like he's saying you're right, Joe. He's saying no, I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to be a fucking dick about it.
How do you feel about this one thing he keeps saying, which I think is super interesting? He will not throw another rapper under the bus. He will not say that I'm the best. He will.
That's, I look at it from, I look at it from the same old head sense. I look at it as that's bullshit because you got to realize that it's important for you to be completely honest about your contemporaries for several reasons. It's important because you and your contemporaries, if you compete with each other on some level, if you poke at each other, then you're going to make better music. You guys will make better music because that's a part of what made the 90s what it was. The 90s wasn't just this whole thing where, everybody had their arms around one another and it was like, hey guys, we're all doing, obviously this is expression. We understand that there's an honor amongst thieves with all people who are on the same playing field of an art form. You are on the same playing field as somebody who illustrates, somebody who animates, somebody who writes, all those three people of all the different things that you do, you get why they do it. But that's why you've got to understand at the same point that rap was created off of competition. That is the tone that's always expressed in being an MC. An MC is always speaking in a very direct manner. It's always direct, even when the songs are inspirational, even when they're sad. They're all spoken in a tone in your face, with attitude, with grit. Okay. So part of what brings that and what brought that about was confrontation, was battling, was are you better than me? Are you better? If you start to lose sight of that, if you lose complete sight of that, then you're just gonna have music that's eventually just gonna get mediocre. It's just nobody's gonna challenge themselves anymore, which is kind of what's
happening.
Man,
this is what I was talking to you about the phone, talking to you about on the phone the other day. I think that poor black people and the population that originally created hip hop is going to have to create a new type of hip hop.
Okay.
I think it's going to take on another form. Everything evolves, man. Art evolves, humans evolve. I don't see why this is any different. What Lil Yachty is doing is... here's something I understood about what he was saying. He's thinking globally. He's not just thinking about music, and he's on that Childish Gambino thing. Honestly, not in terms of the music, but in terms of 360. He's talking about working for Nautica. He's talking about doing commercials, getting his hand in shit that like black people like traditionally not in. Even entertainers,
but here's
even gotten their hands involved.
But look, but you got to understand that that's what makes rap a unique art form from all facets of art that you've enjoyed and that you understand. You can't ignore other people and say that you're in your own lane because because that's what happens to rap. That's what's happened with it. That's been one of the components this whole time. That's when people notice the shift of how minimal everything's getting as far as with words and subject matter. It's because everyone's saying, hey, I'm just going to do my own thing, and nobody's keeping... Kendrick he understands that, and that's why he's on his fucking toes. See, people understand how brilliant he is, but they don't understand that he's brilliant just like how Drake's brilliant, but they both understand. That's the one thing that they have in common. They've all taken shots at people. They do it all the time. They speak in that tone. They understand it. Now, they don't do a lot of interviews because they know that they're going to have to discuss it in interviews, and I guess there's a difference between discussing it in interviews and discussing it in your music. They don't do a lot of talking because they know that question's going to come, and they're going to have to give the political Lil Yachty answers. They don't do that. They just stick to their music, but they know what the fuck this shit is about. Drake recently tweeted out that he congratulated Kendrick on his album sales or whatever, and on the show on Everyday Struggle, they were saying, well, hey, this is kind of disingenuous on Drake's part because he knows he doesn't want Kendrick to win. He doesn't want Kendrick to be better than him at sales. It's like Kendrick's taking over everything, So the music doesn't have to be about the competition, but we acknowledge that this is competition. Hey, if we encourage them to compete amongst themselves, and they're gonna make better music. If you don't fucking think that part of the reason why Damn is so well executed, and even if you want to say that To Pimp a Butterfly is a more superior album, or if you want to say that Good Kid, Mad City is more superior album, it doesn't matter, because part of what makes Kendrick so good is that he knows that you're in your room by yourself saying, I think Drake is better, I think that person's better. He's like, oh yeah, all right, we'll see about that. These kids now, they're not sitting around and wondering that. They're not wondering that. They're taking more of a positive approach. They're taking more of a, hey, we're free flowing, but it's almost to a fault. They're making it seem like addressing people and acknowledging people is confrontation. It's like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
This is, and what we also have to understand that this is just these are kids that were born and raised in good times. They probably came from good families, middle class families. They didn't come from the slums like these rappers did. So we understand that. We understand that there's going to be a difference to their ethos and how they look at being competitive and all that stuff. There's going to be a difference, but you gotta stay on your toes. You gotta stay on your toes, because then if you don't, you're gonna say shit like Yachty said like a year ago when he said, if I want to make a song like Ya, and I say Ya for 3 minutes, I'm gonna do it. It's like, really, dude, you're gonna make a song where you're saying Ya for 3 minutes? Can you try?
That's where things are.
No. You're gonna fucking come over here with this fucking art ticket. You can say, dude, did you what happens, dude? Did you?
No, listen.
No.
I'm saying this is the unstoppable tide. I'm saying you cannot stop this. I
can stop it. I'm not driving myself crazy over here. I'm just
right. But here's what's gonna happen. Okay, there's still enough people coming from that other school where there's like I said, there's the ember inside of the creation of hip hop, and I'll extend this to other forms of art, like the shit that I'm involved in. There's that ember in the center, which is you got to pay your dues. You got to know how to do this first, know how to fucking rhyme, and know how to fucking throw down at any given point. Like, you got to be like technically, you should be able to walk. Like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Old school mentality, you walk up to a rapper, you put a beat on, and they're just hot 16. It has to come out, right? They have to be able to freestyle at like actively and well at any given moment. Right?
Freestyle lost its meaning long before mumble rappers came. Long before, so it's not like, look, it wasn't a thing when Joe Budden was coming up. It wasn't a thing where, can Joe freestyle, though? I'm sure that's what it was about when he was growing up in Jersey City. I'm pretty sure when he was battling people, when it was at its rawest form there, he had to freestyle. But, after mixtapes, and after mixtapes sort of forced people to put out content, when mixtapes were the thing, and you could be featured on, DJ Clue's mixtape maybe 2 times a month. So you had to release free verses over popular beats. you weren't doing them as freestyles. They were written verses that maybe ended up on your album. So you just wanted to put your best foot forward. And I think freestyles died out because of that. Freestyles died out because of mixtapes and because you had to mixtapes started packaging artists better. See, this is a small sample of what I do over a popular beat. This is what I could sound like over a bit of melody that everyone loves. I wrote this. Tell me what you think. It might be on my album. So after, freestyles lost its meaning. So the idea of turning on a beat and telling Lil Uzi Vert to freestyle, he doesn't have to freestyle. He can just spit a written verse. That doesn't matter. You don't have to. Very few people can actually freestyle. Very few people can do what fucking Eminem does, what fucking Super Nat does. Super Nat was probably the greatest freestyler I've ever seen in my life. He's a guy that you can literally hand him anything while he's on stage, and that's what he does with the crowd. You would give him anything, and he'll fucking start rapping about that.
A soiled bikini.
And he'll throw it into the fucking line. It's amazing, and it's a very rare talent. And I think to not know how much of a rare commodity it is to do a disservice to freestyling. To assume that every artist has to come in, oh, you didn't do a freestyle? None of these motherfuckers can do freestyles. They can barely do it. So it's
why do you seem to be going back on the fucking, like, I'm trying to support this idea that there is a core, but you are against that. You seem to not be, so that you don't think that's part of the core of hip hop.
It's a part of the core, but it died out. It died out so long ago.
Why are you okay with saying, like, so that's fine for you, but like,
because when we're talking about freestyle, that's a specific muscle in your brain that you have to continue to flex. To be able to throw words in your fucking head real time and make them rhyme, that's a big demand, and it should be considered a aspect of genius, really.
That's a big demand.
If somebody can do that easily, that's an act of genius. That's what the fuck it is. So
can I spit though?
Yeah, you can spit. Go ahead.
That's a big demand, and it's cowboy. You best call your mans, and you know what else? I'm about to open this can.
Impressive. One of the better I've heard from Cowboy.
He's crying right now and walking away for unexplained reasons. I don't know why.
Because of Damn. It's still because of Damn. He's still upset.
He's still he's been trying to come back, but every time he records something, he just deletes the file.
Yeah.
He's recorded like 4 extra albums, so it's just not good enough. What have the folks said about Lil Yachty?
About Lil Yachty. Let's see. Okay, so we got Molamar Jr. says Peekaboo is fucking trash. Lane Chapman, guys, I'm not going to be able to get to all of you guys. Thank you that all of you participated. Lane Chap says, oh no. Lane Chap, you asked the question, sir. Please, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Adrian Joshua says, I can't hate him solely based on the Rugrats theme song remix. Classic. Let's see. Faraz, whatever the fuck your name is. My opinion. Personally, I'm not a fan of Lil Yachty's music. At the same time, it's not insulting either. I can listen to it on its own and not feel bad. I generally have an affinity for all forms of hip-hop. I think it's messed up he's getting hate for doing his own unique style that is not doing any harm. And if anything, his vibe seems really positive. I'm kind of done with all these bitter old heads, to be honest. Okay, let's move on to another one. We have Jolie. We'll say Jolie. Excuse me. It seems like Lil Yachty isn't passionate about hip-hop at all. He ducks every question when he's... This has been stable. He ducks every question when he's asked about it. He knows he can make money off of half-ass music. All right, that's not that stable. All right, let's read 2 more. Super Saul says, I'm not bothered by Lil Yachty at all. It's entertaining to see old heads and even some currently active MCs come for him. As mad as old heads get, he defends himself well. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last one. Marcus R. Right? Marcus TR. I can't read. I hate Lil Yachty because he made an album called Little Boat. That was my rap name, and now I can't use it. He ruined my career. Well, I guess he's saying that in jest. So my point with the freestyle, what I basically want to drive home to you is, I have no problem with the freestyle sort of being something that's been lost, because I get that this is a business for these guys. Are there people who are still out there freestyling? Absolutely. You can still keep the business and keep competition as a whole a part of what you do. You can still do that. But freestyling, there's not really a demand for it. If Kendrick makes an album, he says, I'm going to do a straight up freestyle album when I'm freestyling everything, like, how excited would you be about that?
Oh, decently.
Yeah, you wouldn't be that excited. That's like Kendrick telling you, I'm going to run 100 miles. It's like, well, okay, that's a test of endurance, dude, but you're doing that more for yourself than you are for us. You know what I'm saying? So I really believe that freestyling's just been lost because of that reason, because there had to be something better packaged to be delivered to the masses. So I have no problem with that. But as far as leaving the competition out, it's total BS. Total fucking BS.
Well, moving forward, I still stand by what I said. I think that people who are experiencing actual struggle today, and people who are experiencing, I guess, financial struggle growing up in like impoverished neighborhoods and all that stuff will have to use the internet to figure out what is going to be the next hip hop, and it might sound nothing like what we've heard before. And I think honestly, it might incorporate something like, I don't know, it might incorporate Snapchat or Facebook Live and dudes rapping while they're literally running around shooting at each other. I have no clue, dude. I really don't know. That sounds terrible, but what I'm saying is, I think they'll have to up the ante to basically make it so that it's like, okay, you care so much about this art form, do you really want it to, I mean, then go ahead and show me the next version of what Tupac was. Show me that, because if it's not Lil Yachty, and I think we can agree that he's something different. He's on a different road now. It's not like it used to be. So show me what that thing looks like when it evolves, because I don't think it's J. Cole either.
I've told you this several times. When the atom split in two was Kanye. Kanye was that. But what did Kanye still do? Kanye went head to head with 50 Cent. They had that whole fake confrontation, who was going to outsell who. It was that already happened. No one's looking for a revolutionary artist that's going to change things. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to protect the quality of the music that has been on a slow decline. And the fact that people praise Kendrick so much, in my opinion, it's because the music around us has taken such a dip. Kendrick is a 90s artist. He would have swam in that group, and he wouldn't necessarily have stood out as much. But he's standing out a lot. Really? Absolutely. Would he have been known and a name that's up there? Yes, of course. Yes, he would have been known.
I think Kendrick in the 90s doesn't stand out.
No, Kendrick in the 90s does not stand out. He doesn't.
You're talking some weird shit, man. You're smoking that rock again. I don't know, man. I don't know about this one.
Dude, the contrast, it's because it's all about the contrast right now. The contrast right now is that, let's think again about public opinion. If we think about public opinion, we think in terms of extremes. We think it's either Kendrick Lamar or Lil Yachty. That's what we tend to think. But in reality, it's not like that. If you're looking under the hood, if you really listen to rap, then you know that's not the case. But the thing is that that's how people, that's how record companies have kind of structured things to be. I mean, maybe the record companies ate away at everything. Maybe that could be the case too. But my point is the reason why he stands out so much, and honestly, it kind of leaves J. Cole to get shitted on a little bit, because I also feel that if there were more artists that were like Kendrick in the forefront, I think J. Cole would make better music. I think there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure for him to create good music because I mean look that's what I'm saying, that you cannot pretend. It's not a competition, but it is. J. Cole has to see what the world is saying about Kendrick's music.
Right.
He has to know. He knows it. He can't get away from it.
So that being said, why isn't he doing better stuff then?
J. Cole's doing music that's just fine. It's just it sticks out. It sticks out, and people look at him like, But if J. Cole was a '90s artist, he would be loved a lot more.
Oh.
He would be loved a lot more. He would be appreciated a lot more for that reason. I think that's why they would be in different positions. I think Kendrick wouldn't be as praised.
That's weird to say.
And I think J. Cole would be a little bit more praised.
You gotta defend that more at another time. We gotta get back to that one. Hey, you know what I think? I think Kendrick is trash, and I hope he doesn't make music no more.
Period. Just because you're just upset about that album, dude, honestly. You're so bitter about that album.
He can't.
It was never... How could we make this more clear to Cowboy that it didn't matter?